Nope. Wait a minute. Now am I live? Okay. Yep. I hear myself. Awesome. Awesome. All right, everyone. I don't know what possessed me to have this scheduled that early in the morning, but nevertheless, we are here. I am doing a reading on Megan and Glorilla, but although I have that, I am really interested if you all would like to see a reading on the because I kind of want to get around this because I don't know if there's some kind of legal stuff. No, I'm gonna say it. So the Miss Perez that work at Rock Nation, the allegations and stuff that's coming out about her maybe not being the best mother, allegedly coming out from her daughter, and supposedly her doing some other nefarious things allegedly, and seeing what that could be as well. And I also seen something else with Rock Nation coming up with this whole Pusha T thing as well, which is interesting. So if that's another reading you all would like to see me do in the future, or potentially get into tonight, we might be able to do that. But for right now, I'm going to focus on Glorilla and Megan because I don't think that miscommunication is wrapped up as nice as neat as they are probably trying to let us believe. I think there's still something going on there, but for whatever reason, they are choosing to play nicey nicey. So I wanted to do a reading on that and see what comes up. Now, and if you don't know, I'm going to bring you up to speed. So, from what I understand, and this is all alleged because I can't confirm it myself, I, heard about it that Glorilla supposedly posted something about a brand or something like that. She did some kind of post with a Tory Lane song in the background, and apparently people took it as a sign of her throwing shade towards Megan because this is also coming up during the time Megan is still going through this back and forth with Tory Lanez. And if you didn't know, lucky you, but yes, people are still saying Megan lied about Tory Lanez shooting her, allegedly, and that there's a whole court case out there about there's 32 hours of footage or what is it, evidence out there to show that it wasn't Tory, but from what I've heard, it's looking like it was Tory, allegedly. That's why he's in jail and not out right now. And this is also coming up not long after he was stabbed. I think he was stabbed 14 times while he was in jail. And people are saying that, Megan's people or her camp allegedly had something to do with it. And it's just devolved into this whole thing where they are also saying Glorilla posted that because Megan supposedly did her dirty when they were on tour, not paying her properly. And so she kind of hit below the belt and decided to hit Megan where it hurts. But they eventually got over it, and Glorilla said it was a miscommunication, and now her and Megan are cool again. But I don't really believe that because when Glorilla posted something afterwards, she retweeted something that somebody has, basically to the tune of that she's not trying to paddle nobody's feelings or kiss nobody because I'm not your nigga or something like that, she said. And people blew up and was like, oh, this is about Megan because she being a crybaby about Tory. So we'll see. I am going to pull cards and see what's really going on, see if there's something more that's going on in the background. And yeah, more than likely, I'm going to get some juicy information, and I'll be pulling based off of what I get from the cards. So yes, you see me with these cards, you know that I am doing a tarot reading. If that is something you are uncomfortable with, this is your moment in time to click off and find something else that better resonates with you. If you are okay with tarot and we can move forward, please make sure to always use your powers of this discernment moving forward. If something resonates, cool. If it doesn't, leave it on the table. Because as I often try to tell people, I am simply a spiritual translator. So there are some things that I'm going to mistranslate or misinterpret because I am not an all-knowing being, and I'm not going to pretend to be. I don't know everything. I cannot see the future. I don't know the future all the time. It's probably best that I don't. And yeah, we're going to move forward with that. Also note that all statements made are alleged for entertainment purposes only. So don't take what I say in these videos as like, oh, she's spitting. If it's something that happens to come up that seems true, we're going to just leave it there on the table and we're going to walk away and we're not going to talk about it, okay? All right. If you are new here, welcome, welcome. Come on in, grab your seat. Hope you have your pipe of hot tea. And we're going to get into this. Hello to returning viewers. All right. Let's get into this beef with Megan. Okay, you were working. Oh, the preacher. So, excuse me, in this particular deck, this is the Emperor and it is in reverse. And this is Megan's energy here. I'm pulling for Megan, Glorilla, and the energy in between. I did see a card flip over and oh, we see the Fool here. Let's see if that's actually supposed to come out for Glorilla though. Okay. So, funny enough, I have the Two of Swords here, or the Two of Axes for Glorilla. And let's see, we're not counting that. Ooh, we had a couple cards pop out here. What's this other one that flipped over? I thought I seen one flip over in the deck, no? No, it was just these two. So we have Ace of Jazz and then the Justice card. Wow. So before I get into the underlying energies, because that oftentimes let me know what's going on, I'll leave that off screen a little bit so you all can't see it. It'd be a surprise for all of us. So I think right now it comes as no surprise that Megan's energy is coming up as the Emperor in reverse. This is someone who is feeling out of control of their life. I wanted to say out of control of the narrative, but I didn't think that was fair to say. But that is what came to mind for me. You know, allegedly. And it doesn't have to mean that so much there's a narrative that she is trying to control to lie per se, but that maybe there could be a thing here of just like, do people really not like me like that? Do people really not understand and see that I'm telling the truth, that there is truth to this, that there is, or even partial truth to this, that there is potentially, what's the word I want to say? That there is potentially, yeah, just facts to this, and you all are just cognitive dissonance is just really taking over, and people aren't understanding what's at play here. Did I really kind of let me not use that pun or that saying, because it's not going to be funny saying in this situation, but like, did I really just mess things up for me and trying to cover for somebody else and trying to be nice, trying to be a people pleaser of some sort by not letting this certain information get out, the truth, not telling the truth at the beginning of the situation, essentially. And so then we have here for Glorilla, we have the Two of Swords or the Two of Axes. And to me, this makes me feel like she is really debating, and I feel like the choice has been made because they are cool right now and it's in the upright, that should I really be cool with Megan? Because the fact that this jumped to like this escalated in the manner that it did, in the way that it did, without any kind of like communication and stuff happening beforehand. And that you kind of saw me as a type of person to, I guess, like sub you like that. Like I would have just addressed it to you outright or something like that. Like I'm not for this internet beef or this like tit for tat or this like petty back and forth. And the fact that this is where we are, and that something so little misinterpreted, you know, some mistake could blow up and make you feel that way. Like I understand it's a sensitive thing, but that's crazy that it escalated to this matter. It's kind of like the feeling that I get. And then here with the Justice and the Jazz, the Ace of Jazz, or the One of Wands here, the Ace of Wands, this just makes me feel like nobody is hearing me. I feel, even though this is the Justice card, it feels more like judgmental, especially because I'm seeing, and I hate to put it this way because I know it's probably going to be some people here that's probably of this particular sect or whatever, or that practices religion, but this just makes me think of like, we call them high rollers. They're people who go to church, they act very saintly, very holier than thou, and they try to point the finger and talk to everybody else and tell them how they should be, and yet there's some of the same perpetrators of things that they are telling everybody else not to be. It feels very like judgment card to me instead of justice. But it also can kind of just be like, you know, that's not fair. It's not fair that this is happening, that, you know, the justice has not been provided. Like the scales feel unbalanced. This, you know, I am the person who is the victim, and yet I'm still getting dogpiled on. It doesn't feel right. And again, here with the Ace of Wands coming up in reverse, to me, you know, so sometimes this is kind of like that sexual tension and things like that. But to me, it could be on the opposite of like that spark, that passion that you have with a friend, the creative juices, because these two are rappers. They did go on tour together. They have collaborated a couple of times now. You know, it's kind of like, is there no one, it's kind of feeling like, is there no one that I could really trust business-wise, even to kind of just stand on business and stand with me on things? Like this feels like a losing battle, essentially, for the energy in between. But let's see if I'm clear on that. We're going to pull some, oh wait, before I pull more cards, we do have the Aeon, that creative spirit. And I'm going to say this is more so on Meg's side here for the underlying energy. We also have the Ace of Blues, or the Ace of Cups here. My emotional cup is running over, is what I'm getting with that here. Again, that makes me feel like this is Meg. And then we also have, the Four of Wands. This is dealing with personal things, things at home. Again, a lot of that passion, that joy, things not feeling quite right. Like I need to get, I'm kind of hearing like, make sure your house is in order is what's coming to mind when I see this card. Even though it's in the upright, I'm hearing like, make sure your house is in order before you try to come for mine. Why am I croaking? My voice is going in and out. I have been talking a lot today, but geez. See what else we're gonna get here. Okay, all right, so I had two cards that jumped up in my chest, and then one that actually fell on the desk here. So I'm going to read all three of these. We have the Dogwood Blossoms, dealing with sacrifice and rebirth. And mind you, I was focusing on Megan's energy of why this Emperor card was coming up in reverse for her. We also have the Bottle Tree in reverse, meditation, intercession. Does she feel like nobody is kind of stepping up on her behalf? Pair of shoes, coupling, partnership. This makes me feel like she feels, which is understandable, she feels alone. She feels unprotected. She feels exposed. She feels And not exposed in the sense of like, again, not saying that she's lying or anything, but exposed in the sense of like, the best way I can say, you know, that dream where you feel like you walking naked, you are naked in class or something like that, and you have to present that kind of exposure. I'm walking down the street with no armor, no kind of coverage. I feel that kind of exposed. Let's see. Black Eyed Peas, wealth and prosperity. Only way I see that I can understand this appearing for her is that this drama has been having an impact, it feels like, on her career, which is like her main form of income, as far as I understand. That's why I feel like she's branching out into so many other things. Okay, because I was trying to get more clarity on why this showed up, and I had a bunch of cards just fly out of my hands. Ugh. Let's see. So mainly we have the instrument, self-expression, speaking truth. So you see that here. We also have the copperhead, deception and bad influences. Don't that feel about right? Then we also have the grove, divinity and awe. The grove to me though feels more like feeling lost or bereft, kind of almost on like that Four of Cups almost energy. The Four of Cups meet the Eight of Swords. Something about feeling trapped, yet exposed and lost at the same time. Like I'm trapped and don't know a way out of it, and I'm trying to wander my way out of the forest. The deception of bad influences, yes, to me, I mainly more so the bad influences is the part that's jumping out to me, because I just think she had herself surrounded by a bunch of bad influences. She was, trying to fill a void. She got involved in bad influences. You know what I'm talking about. If you've seen any of my other past readings on Megan, I have brought that up several times before. I feel like there was something there for that, and not her focusing on just like hearing her inner voice. And I understand, because I believe she is an Aquarius, right? There's a struggle sometimes with connecting to your emotion and listening to yourself. And then with the instrument here, self-expression, speaking truth, like she probably feels like there's not space for her to actually speak her truth. And even if she does, it's like, damned if I do, damned if I don't. And then we have the Mockingbird, prophecies and communication. Communication seems to be a big thing for Glorila, because this is the swords also deal oftentimes with communication. It's the air, it's it's the swords, it's the thought, it's the communications, it's think of social media. Birds oftentimes also deal with that as well. Communication, connection, messaging, all of that. Communication seems to be a big thing for Glorila, and I think because things were not communicated properly at this time, here we are. That it does not count. Okay, I thought that wanted to come out. The coupling, pair of shoes. Why aren't you? Okay, it's two parts connected to this. It's the nest of wasps, teamwork and order, and then we also have the bayou, emotions and the manifestation here. Yeah, I think I was spot on what I said last time with the Ace of Wands being here, or the Ace of Jazz. Even though it could also be with the Ace of Cups, to me more so this Ace of Jazz feels like this fallout has really colored things, have really put things in perspective for Megan, I feel like. And I'll just say I really hope she has someone she can talk to and trust, and someone who's, and not only someone she can talk to and trust, but someone she can actually confide in, and they don't abuse that sense of security and trust and openness that she expresses with them, but they also provide her with kind of like the tough love, the feedback and stuff that she needs to work through this, because I think there's a lot of things that she struggles with and dealing with other people and how people deal with her as well. And I think that is something she is kind of like struggling with here. And I don't think she's completely innocent in it, you know. I think there is a hand that she kind of has to understand that she plays in it as well, even if it's simply playing the victim in the situation. It's still something you play. It's still a role that you play in that situation. But again, with the Justice and this Ace of Wands card here, for me, it feels like I had high hopes for this friendship, for this connection, for this teamwork, this collaboration that we have. But now I don't know if I could trust you like that. Like, even if that was posted by mistake, when people started bringing it up, you should have quickly took it down. You could have called me and said something. It kind of feels like both of them were too proud to call each other and talk it out. To say what needed to be said, because like this could have very much been handled behind closed doors, and the internet and the public didn't have to know anything else about it. They could have very much handled this behind closed doors. But it was like once it kind of blew up on social media, both of them were too proud, and it was like kind of too late to do anything, and they were both waiting on the other one to reach out because they were too proud. Like, oh, go from Glorila's perspective, oh, she'll reach out to me if there's really an issue. I don't think it would be. I don't think she's over that. And then on the other side, it's kind of like, no, Glorilla would reach out to me if this was an accident or something like that. She would take it down, right? It's kind of like, I was waiting for you to reach out to me first. Like, and I think that's where the communication just kind of devolved after that. Now, also, what we're getting here for the underlying cards, we have luck or chance, dealing with the horseshoe. Yep, a bout of bad luck is coming up here, I think, for both Glorilla and Megan, because if you don't know, both of them have kind of been getting dragged on social media. Glorilla for her nose, and her not being the prettiest girl and she's being the Fenty ambassador, and then Megan for this whole Tory Lane stuff. The public is just kind of like having a field day with these two. Then we also have Black Walnut, dealing with discernment and self-worth. I think that's something they are both struggling with. If you know, you know. And then we have Abandoned Plantation, dismantling ugly truths. That's what it says. Yeah, I don't think everything gets patched up between these two. I don't care what they say. I think they're going to play nice in front of the camera, but I don't think everything gets patched up between these two, because there's still a lot that has been left unsaid. Because Megan, it kind of feels like Megan is like, well, I'm not going to say nothing right now because, like, I'm PMSing, or I'm not going to say anything because I know I'm in my feelings and I don't want to, overstep the line or make you, or let you feel like you got that kind of power over me to where I'm that bothered. And then from Glorilla's perspective of things, I just really feel like, what is Glorilla's sign? Because it's kind of giving oblivious, or maybe that she just have a tougher skin about things because of her upbringing. Like, certain things just don't bother her like that. Like, this is that big of a deal. And it almost kind of feels like callous at this point. But I don't don't know. It kind of feels like oblivious. Like, read the freaking room. It never fails. Every single time I pull cards on Megan, she always end up getting this three sheets to the winds card. Every time I think, and every time I've done a reading on her, I've used this particular deck, the Southern Oracle, on her, and I get this one about her blowing off steam, overindulging, rebellious. But she's dabbling in it a little too much. This drinking card always comes up for her. Let's see if I can get anything else from Megan, because no crap, I always get that card about her. I'm not killing y'all. I think her and SZA would make great friends. Or maybe it's old SZA, allegedly. I feel like her and SZA would make great friends. I don't know if these two would ever collaborate on anything together, but I feel like with the cards that I'm getting, they would make some bomb A music, some side chick. I should be chosen. I overindulge in sex and drugs to, like, that's my only vice. That's the way I get over things and get out of my head, because that's what this is giving me, the sweet tooth. It's like I'm overindulging in sex and love and intimacy. That's all I want, to kind of like feel connected to people. I mean, it's not surprising to me as many readings I've done on Megan like this. That's coming up for her. Hey, this one is to come out for Glorila, One Horse Town, boredom, monotony, small mindedness, branch out and move on, novelty needed. And I'm sorry to say this. Oh my God. I know the people from St. Louis is about to eat me up, but she really is giving like bump on the log. You know how we always, well, here in America, there is always this stigma, this what do they call it? I think it starts with a P. This prejudice, I guess is kind of like the word. It's this common misconception that a lot of people have here in America, that people from the South are uneducated. They are two floors short with the elevator. The lights are on, but nobody's in there. Like all of these kind of misconceptions and beliefs that people often have about people from the South. And that's not true for everyone. I mean, it's definitely some people from the South that'll make you believe it, but it's also people up here from the North that'll make you believe that as well. Like people from the North are stupid. But, you can find stupid people everywhere. But it's a common overall misconception that people have about people from the South, and Glorilla embodies that. Just feels very ignorant. Just feels. Remember, I was saying earlier that it just feels like she is not reading the room. She's like very callous, just like unbothered, not understanding what the issue is. That's what this One Horse Town gives me. I know how this is applied from where I'm at. I'm not understanding why you got a problem with this. It's girls in my hood that have been. Okay, and not saying that this is her actual thought, but it kind of feels like, because I feel like I'm tapping into her energy. It kind of feels like Glorilla's like, I know girls from where I'm from who have been assaulted, who have, been deleted, who have been missing from their closest loved ones, and everybody seems to have like an idea on who did it, but we not walking around like we gonna keep that on us forever. It's kind of like we just gonna overlook or suppress the drama the trauma and just move on. Like, I know people who have been, it's kind of feeling like allegedly, this is all alleged. Because again, I'm just kind of giving a scenario. It kind of feels like Glorila is like, you know, I know people who have been through worse than you. And they not this sensitive about stuff like that. But it's like, Glo, how can you tell her to not be sensitive about that? That's, you know, that could have been a near-death experience for her. That is something very traumatic. That's not something you get over right away. She's, you know, by herself. She's the only child. How can you try to... It just feels very apathetic. Like, I'm not understanding. And that's why I'm saying I feel like the callousness and the outright stupidity is coming in on the chat. It's just her not understanding, her not getting it. I'm going to note these two cards that came out. We have If the Good Lord's Willing, If the Creek Don't Rise, Purpose, Determination, Smooth Sailing, Assistance. That, again, speaks to kind of like that collaboration. I also find it funny that I get like this canoe and we have the bayou here because, you know, I don't know why that makes me, it feels like it's a connection with that. But then we also have Chicken with his head cut off, very busy, overwhelmed, frenzy, deadlines, chaos, refocus. That very much feels like the energy right now. But let's see if it's actually meant to come out for the energy between Megan and Glorilla here. I'm looking for one more card. Yep, and there we go. So we have if that ain't truth, grits ain't groceries. Okay? And I'm definitely going to say this is from Megan's side. Believe me, I'm trustworthy. This is what actually happened, or this is my truth on things. Like, all of this is there. Stop letting your cognitive dissonance overrule the facts and the truth of the matter. Like, I feel like I am in public persecution for no reason when it shouldn't be that. Like, this should be very different. There are other things that is contributing to this. And once again, I feel alone and like nobody is on my side. Am I not worthy of people being on my side, of being understood, of having people in my corner? Yeah, if that ain't truth, grits ain't groceries. And then we also have Aren't You Precious here with Suffering Fools, Disdain, Displeasure, Contempt, Poking, Fun. Read between the lines, Glorilla. I definitely feel like this is Glorilla. Like, I don't know. Again, maybe some of y'all don't have a Southern grandmother or an auntie that do a nice Southern read on you. But when you used to say something stupid, they'll just be like, aren't you precious? It's giving that. Like, Glorilla is very oblivious to what the freak is going on. Read the room. Read between the lines. Why did you think that was okay? Why didn't you think to double check? Why did you not think to call her? Why did you not think to text? Why did you not think that the things that you did after that, your actions after that, was not going to lead to some reason why she is feeling some type of way? Like, how are you acting oblivious and acting like it's her fault? There's a role you play in this as well. Very callous and apathetic behavior. Underlying issues here. Follow your bliss and money comes passion in a project. Okay, here we go with that. If the good Lord's willing and the creek don't rise. Yeah, I read that earlier. Determination, smooth sailing, assistance here. And then we also have a come to Jesus moment. Truthful communication, and notice this did come up in reverse. There was not truthful communication happening. I do not think everything is resolved between these two, and I would not be surprised if in the future something flares up unless these two talk it out honestly and truthfully. And somebody really need to bop Glorilla upside the head because she's stupid. I don't care. That what I'm picking up on in this homegirls, a few, their bulb ain't twisted too tight. Divine intervention, and even if it's like not academically stupid, her emotional intelligence non-existent. Truthful communication, integrity, divine intervention, surrender, and reconciliation. I do not think, see, I didn't even realize reconciliation was on here. I don't think they really reconcile. I don't, because there's not enough emotional vulnerability between these two for them to have an actual conversation and communicate on things. And I could also see this being stemming from other things that's been going on in the industry, and almost through like third party stuff. Like maybe it's not something where so much Megan rubs Glorilla the wrong way with when they were on tour, but maybe it could be somebody in the third degree that they both know, and it's things that were said and rumored between the two that could have also led to the de-evolution of these two's collaboration or friendship that they have. But I'm not coming off Glorilla Nick. I feel like the emotional intelligence based on these cards, all alleged entertainment purposes only, that elevator don't go all the way to the top. I don't care what anybody say. She's a bad representation. Okay? She making people from her area not look the brightest. Okay? I'm just gonna say that. And I'm gonna get up off of her. I'm gonna let her breathe. But I'm gonna let her breathe. But it's not looking good for her. I hope she work on that. Lastly, I'm just gonna pull, this is a little bonus part here. I just want to pull cards on this whole, let's see what else is going to be coming up about this Tory Lanez and Megan Thee Stallion situation, because it's getting ridiculous. I'm tired. So I know she's tired. Let's see what's coming up for her with this Tory Lanez situation. Those. Okay, that was one card that wanted to come out. Okay, what are you? We also have the Hanged Man, aka the Upside Down. Okay, so I have 4 cards that fell out here. So we have the Passion card, which is better known as the Strength card here. We also do have the Upside Down. The word that initially came to mind with me with the Upside Down was not different perspective or looking at things differently like I normally get with the Upside Down. It was, to me, it was kind of like change objectives was kind of like the word that came to mind. Changing objectives. I don't know exactly what they could be dealing with. Let me focus here. Having strength to change objectives. And then we also have the King of Blues here. And then the Six of Swords, or the Six of Axes. So I'm hearing emotional depletion. I do hear something of like maybe distancing myself, having the strength to maybe distance myself, having the strength to not explain myself over and over again. Also maybe not to address the situation at hand. What else is coming through? Something about playing a role or a part. Emotionally divest from this is also another one. So the underlying cards here we have is the Two of Wands with the Two of Jazz cards here. We have the Queen. Oh, it's a lot of fire up in here. The Queen of Jazz as well. She is a beautiful girl. Meg is a beautiful girl. You can feel how you want to. Meg is a beautiful girl. And then we also have the Empress here with Mama here. The Priestess. I don't know what they could really be dealing with the underlying energies here, but yeah, I don't negate that they're not business savvy, but I feel like maybe that's where the train stops with these two. To me, it kind of feels like yeah, they may be business savvy, but I think when it comes to being personable or being people savvy or being emotionally aware, being like having some kind of awareness about those around them, I think both of them probably kind of lack that a little bit. I don't negate that they're business savvy, and even if they're not business savvy, I think they have chosen the right people to do the business with or for them. Um, and that's not to negate that they don't know what they're doing, but because I know there's oftentimes a narrative in the music industry that the women don't know what they're doing half the time or something like that. It's because of the machine behind them, but I think they are business savvy and know how to be kind of very lucrative and operate. But I think when it comes to them knowing things outside of their craft, like knowing people, I think that might be a struggle for them. Hence why this blow up has happened. We have second chances in magic. It's coming up in reverse. This isn't looking good for Tori. Maybe there's going to be some things here that's going to come out. Maybe people wising up about something. Second chance is coming up in reverse. Influence and support. Also coming up in reverse. Interesting. Okay, I had a couple things that just happened here. Okay, so this was sticking out to the side and I went to pull it, but these two failed. So I'm going to note these. And I'm going to try one more shuffle. We have the Wild Violet dealing with self-actualization and individuality. We have the Alligator dealing with silence and introspection. I think neither one of them are doing that. Neither Tori nor Megan here. And then we have Instruments, self-expression and speaking truth. Ain't that's a word for them. Speaking truth. Because say what you want. It doesn't feel like most people see. According to public sentiment that I've seen and read, and not saying that this is factual, but from the public sentiment that I've seen overall, people do not feel like Megan is a credible victim. She is not a credible witness. And I don't feel that Tori is a credible. I hate to say this word. I don't think Tori is a credible victim, because if he was truly innocent in this situation, he would have said what he had to say. He would have said, "Oh no, it was Kelsey allegedly that did it. It was, he would have brought out the evidence and the witnesses, and he would have negated more than he did during the trial. And I don't, from what I understand and read, when I think back on that, I don't think he did that. So, yeah, I don't think either one of them are credible in that sense. I feel like that's that Kelsey girl with this dog coming up here. I'm sorry. I feel like that's her. And then the bottle tree, mediation, intercession. I can't say what I want to say right now. Because I'm not trying to get in trouble, and I don't know how much of that I can actually state. What I will say is that even though it already has happened, I feel like there's going to be some more heat that's probably going to be pointed towards Kelsey in this situation. Yeah. I feel like there's going to be more of a spotlight on her. And I feel like that's another reading I want to do too, because I haven't actually done that reading. But somebody made me think, shout out to Abba and Preach if you all watch them. I was watching a video that they did recently and how Abba was saying that he kind of went through all of this stuff and read it and looked it over. And one of the things that he mentioned and he pulled up was that there was a phone call, a recorded phone call, because of course, once you're in the facilities here in America, at least, they have access to your phone calls, your conversations, and it's basically public information. They can use it. You don't have any privacy with that, unless it's probably something with like your lawyer. But I don't know. I'm not in the weeds of that. I'm not legal, so I don't understand all of that. But there was a phone call he did with Kelsey, and they were saying how he called her dude or boy or something like that, and Preach brought up like that. That just doesn't sound like a way you would address somebody that you have been alleged to been intimate with. And it made me wonder, did these two really have something going on? Because it almost make it seem like they didn't. Or maybe Kelsey was into it more than Tori, obviously, because Tori is self-centered. If you ask me, he was trying to, sleep with somebody else while Megan was there. And we all know that they both have, Tori and Megan have confirmed that they were intimate. So, and then you were trying to sleep with Kylie, like, yeah. Again, read the room, people. Okay. I felt like this one wants to come out too. We have Gimme Some Sugar, Hugs and Kisses, Adoration, Snuggling, Pillow Talk, Bonding, Someone's Favorite. That's dead and done. We also have Over Yonder, Focus for Anticipation, Potential, Eyes on the Prize, Choices and Surprises. To me, it feels like they're both very much stuck in the past because it keeps coming up and you're trying to slander her character, or at least his team is. Allegedly, it's not making it for a very conducive environment for us to ever make up or be friends again, or even cordial at this point. Like, this has turned into something very ugly. And then we also have Were You Raised in a Barn? Poor manners, lack of tact, discourtesy, impoliteness, social grace required. I think it's going to stay ugly. It's going to stay ugly, essentially. And on the very slim chance, I personally feel on the very slim chance, unless, he gets pardoned, because, Trump has been handing out these pardons left and right. Unless he gets pardoned, I think it's a very, on the slim chance that he gets out, I can't add anything else here. I'm not gonna speculate. I'm not gonna add anything extra to it. I'm just gonna read the cards. Um, yeah, it's just gonna stay ugly and contentious between these two. It's gonna be, just prepare for all the mudslinging to continue for a while because neither one is willing to give up. And I, on in a way, I understand both perspectives here. I feel like one of them is more wrong than the other because you are the guilty party, or you have some onus that you need to take up for in this situation more than the other person. I'm gonna keep that to myself though because this is already a very public discourse that I don't want to involve myself in. But yeah. It's just gonna stay ugly until this once and for all the final blow, the nail is hammered in. I'm butchering that saying right now. Oh God, you would really think English is not my first language, which is it, but whatever. Yeah, so I'm going to wrap it up and leave it there. I'm not going to touch the whole Tori and Megan thing any further. There could be another reading. We can expand on that. But right now, I feel like I'm not getting a clear bead on it because it's so ugly right now. And I can't see through. I feel like most of this is like the public vision that I'm getting of this and not what's actually going on between them, to be honest. But yeah. Jesus Christ. Okay. With all of that being said, I hope you all enjoyed this reading. If you would like to see, again, an expanded reading on Megan and Tory Lanez, please leave a comment please leave a comment so that I can get working on that. And if you want to see a reading on the Perez series that is going on with, Rock Nation and the allegations from her daughter, also leave a comment for that. I will be more than happy to do that reading as well because that is some juicy gossip to me. With all of that being said, if you like this reading, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you would like to see more readings like this, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell, selecting it to all so you can see the next time I upload. And with that, I thank you all so much for joining me for this reading, for watching, for subscribing, for stopping in for your first time, whatever the case may be. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye.